Thanks for all the kind words, Dheeraj. I think many of you would have been to Dubai, seen the shopping malls there, and may have been tracking it as well. Not too sure how many of you are actually part of retail, but I represent the retail industry from UAE. I moved there about 5.5 years ago from Bangalore. And I've been working with a consulting firm which does investments, management, leasing, everything in shopping malls. So this topic was very interesting because I felt that I can add some of my experience to this because I've tracked it for the last 5 years since I've been there. And we have half an hour, so I'm not going to bore you a lot with what I say. I'm going to show you pictures of how the market has evolved as well in Dubai. Because every Indian shopper used to look firstly to Dubai or London or Singapore to go and buy things and also to go and learn about how retail is evolving. So this presentation is about how the Dubai retail sector is progressing. And to tell you the truth, I can't speak as openly in Dubai as I can in India. So it just makes more sense, that I share my learnings with all of you, and hopefully you will get some learnings as well from that. So we're going to go through the supply overview, the upcoming malls there, the demand drivers, retail development trends which are there right now, and the lifestyle centers in Dubai. This is only in Dubai. I'm not even covering Abu Dhabi, or I'm not even covering Ras Al Khaimah or the other Emirates, because then it'll become a huge presentation. Hopefully this is what you'll stick with something in this presentation now. How many of you have actually been to Dubai, shopping malls in Dubai? Everyone? Maybe a few who haven't, because retail is not everyone's game, but yeah, shopping malls. Everyone learned through them, and I actually moved there in 2014 to be a part of this big industry in Dubai. The GLA per capita, I'm sure you guys know, per capita GLA is the highest in GCC in Dubai, and it's the second highest in the world. This means that the number of shopping malls, this relates with shopping malls more than the high street retail. The number of shopping malls, which is about 60 in Dubai, it's actually just second to New York City in terms of the per capita GLA. So you have to understand that the supply dynamics are huge there, but primarily because there is a lot of tourists that comes in, and there's a lot of traction, and a lot of people who keep taking it as only a transition city and then keep moving on to other cities as well. So there's a high number of affluent expatriate families. Tourism is great. Business visitors is the hub for for the entire Middle East, for all the other countries there as well, because it's very open compared to many other Arab countries. And we are expecting a lot of growth still, which can come in, but not immediately. Immediately, it's in a bit of a struggle because somewhere the supply has overtaken demand hugely. There's evidence of slowdown, which we're going to go through, which is in big malls like Meydan 1 Mall, which is a 3 million square feet mall, Dubai Square, which is again 5 million square feet. People had announced this, and these are big developers who announced all of these, but they've gone kind of silent now. They're not progressing as early as they should have. So we see a very solid evidence of slowdown. There's a focus for future, which is primarily on community malls, because every community will need a small shopping center. Expansions which are in the current malls, like Dubai malls expanding, Maldives expanding. So all the big previous malls, they're all expanding right now. And what we see is that there's going to be a survival of the fittest, which means the quality standards will have to be raised, and we'll have to understand how exactly can you get the footfalls back into the malls, which can lead to conversions. So this is supply overview. I don't know how clear it is, but the point is that Dubai by far is ahead of its peers in the GCC right now. You can see that the GLA per capita in Dubai is almost 1.43, which is the highest, which we talked about. This is supply overview, which has steadily increased a lot. They've not basically become stagnant at any stage. There were 2 big malls which were launched last year as well, 2019. And I think this year as well, they're going to have 3 more big malls which will come into the market because of the Expo 2020. So you'll see that, by 2023, the expected shopping center GLA is about 6,053 meter squares, which is a huge number by any means if they cannot get the kind of tourists that they expect. It started from 2008 onwards when there was a crisis, but right now the levels of the rents, the levels of retailers, the sales, it's all come back to almost the same level. So it's struggling quite a bit. This is the modern GLA supply structure again, where I've just bifurcated into the super regional malls. So this is primarily very retail-centric presentation. And any of you who are not related with retail may find it a little bit boring, but anywhere during the presentation, if you want to ask any questions, just raise your hand so I can clarify. Okay? So there are super regional malls, they are basically defined by the GLA. How big are they? They're regional malls, community malls, lifestyle malls, and other malls. So you'll see that super regional malls are the biggest. Everybody has announced huge malls, 3 million, 5 million, and primarily due to their egos because they want to be bigger than the other guy around, which is what Dubai is all about. Actually, it's all about biggest and longest and tallest and most GLA. So they want to be the front runners in the world in terms of what they produce as buildings there, because buildings is the commodity that Dubai sells actually more than any other crops or anything else. It's just buildings and malls in this case. So you'll see that all these malls, and I'm happy to share the presentation later, whoever's interested in this. But these are the main malls now, which are the top 10 malls by GLA in Dubai. And starting with Dubai Mall, which likes to be the front runner. It's about over 4 million square feet. So you can say it's about 5 times of any big regional mall here. You cannot expect such big malls in India right now, but I think people here may get to about, DLF's talking about 1.5, 2 million square feet. Raheja's could do a bigger one here. But this by far will remain the biggest in the world. Mall of the Emirates is about 2.5 million square feet. It goes on all the way to City Center Dera, which was the earliest and the oldest mall. And then Burjuman Center as well was a very, very old mall where all the film stars from Mumbai used to go and shop. But they've all become quite redundant now and struggling through vacancies right now. So just some pictures for you to refresh your memories if you have been there, or if you haven't, then just see the kind of opulence that these malls have. The kind of money that's spent to give that kind of warmth to the people who come in and shop here. So this is Dubai Mall, the fountain area there, which is very, very packed in the evenings. This is the new fashion avenue that they've opened, which has the Armani Cafe, and it has the Louis Vuitton, the new one. It's got all the luxury collection. This is a Zabil expansion, which is done right across the bridge. So they've connected the old Dubai Mall with an overhead bridge, and it's connecting into a new part of the 1 million square feet of Zabil expansion, which is again a part of Dubai Mall. They are about 70% leased here, so about 30% still vacant. The Fountain Views expansion again from Dubai Mall, they're expanding here. This is the Mall of the Emirates, which is amongst the top 3 performing malls in the world in terms of the sales per square foot. It's amongst the top 3 in the world still, and by far the top performer in Dubai as well, bigger than Dubai Mall. That's the Mall of the Emirates. Again, Carrefour is the leading hypermarket there. They're also upgrading. So this is all happening to reinvent yourself. And like we heard in the previous panel about innovation and about how e-commerce is setting in. So mall developers in Dubai are also trying their best to to put the best foot forward and to ensure that they keep doing the reinventions within their own malls so that the customer gets a better experience every time they come in. This is Dubai Festival City. They have gone through a major revamp in the past, and they've got some huge F&B collection going in and entertainment, which are the two big, very, very big streams which are expanding still in Dubai and UAE. So entertainment and F&B are still the ones which are expanding. Fashion's going very, very low. This mall's very big on F&B and entertainment right now, and a major favorite. This is done by the Al Futtaim Group, the Abdullah Al Futtaim Group. Dubai Festival City. This is Dragon Mart, a very value-driven mall, which is primarily it was made for the Chinese retailers. Today, nobody wants to talk about, Chinese retailers or, tourists as well who have really declined in the last month and a half because of, well-known reasons. But this mart still has a lot of supply that comes in directly from China, and it thrives on that. Gets about 17 million people every year, this mall. This is City Center Mirdif, again a mall by Majid Al Futtaim, who's a leading mall developer in UAE. They've also done a new revamp, and they've refurbished the whole thing and got some new brands in. So the mix needs to keep changing and evolving in the malls, which is what's happening right now. Ibn Battuta Mall is one of the very unique malls that that was opened many years ago, and with a very themed kind of experience, and it did extremely well in the last few years with very few vacancies. But now they've got competition right next to them, which is by Al Futtaim Group, and they've lost out about 20% of their footfalls already. So everywhere it's the supply which is actually putting in a lot of pressure on the sales performances in these malls. There's a city center Dera, which I'm sure many of you have gone there, or your fathers, mothers, parents used to go, because this opened in 1994, and it's the oldest one, but still doing pretty strong. They're still trading very well. That's a new lifestyle center which is called City Walk. This is what I think is the next gen of malls in India as well. So Mumbai will see something like this in the next few years. Perhaps Reliance is planning something, to do in the luxury domain. I think this is something that will come in here shortly, because we tend to still, developers here still, with all due respect, tend to get inspired from Dubai or Singapore, and that's where they think are the new new technologies, innovations, as well as new way of building and constructing malls to get more people. That's where they come from. So this is very techno-oriented, shopping mall, which has a lot of artificial intelligence in, and it's open air, so it works for 6 months. 6 months the sales are dead, and therefore people in Dubai are now understanding it, developers as well, and they're giving a lot of discounts to retailers to ensure that they can sustain for all the 12 months of the year. Because the climate is so bad for 4 or 5 months that the only thing happens that 6 months these places rock, they do very well, but the remaining 5 or 6 months they don't do so well. So these are Al Ghurair Center, the new cinema which is opened there, Real Cinema, and some new F&B. This is the Burjuman Mall. Again, they've done a complete refurbishment, and the whole entire top floor they have actually given to one major single group, which is the apparel group. Okay, so these are the upcoming malls now. The list is very, very big, and if you see here, the GLA which is coming in the market, these are all announced, and these are all under construction, or they would have a hole dug in. So this is going to create a lot of pressure on the Dubai retail market. Today, developers are already talking about acquisitions. They're talking about consolidations, like what's happening in the US. We have funds like Brookfields who've entered in already, and they've bought about 5 billion dirhams of worth of malls from Miraz, who had done the city walk development. So you have big investors coming in now. There'll be big consolidation which will happen. But that's the next big wave, because you can't sustain this kind of square footage and supply. And again, I'm in India, so I'm saying this because I would perhaps be reprimanded if I'm back home. So this is not sustainable. This kind of supply which is coming in Dubai right now is going to put huge pressure on the sales, on the retailers. They're already getting beautiful deals through developers, through consultants like us. We give them anything they ask for. Today, retailers are getting everything on the table free. They just need to give a turnover rent. They're not even paying rents. They're only giving turnover rents, and even the landlords are building the stores for them. So it's going to a very challenging kind of situation, but everyone's expecting that by Expo 2020, there's going to be some kind of revival, and there's going to be some impetus in the market through the government. So hopefully that will happen. We'll wait and watch, but for the moment, it's very challenging. So all of these that you see here, Maidan One Mall, Dubai Hills, this is all under construction. It's going to be, Dubai Hills is going to be coming this year. So if you see 2020 here, Nakheel Mall actually just opened last month. It's still here, but they opened last month. Then there's Al Khail Avenue, which is opening again, Expo 2020. So I haven't done a total of just the 2020, but this year itself, there's a huge supply expected within this year, because everyone's trying to ride on the wave of Expo. And we will only see when the real time comes, how the retailers as well as the malls are able to cope up with it. These are the upcoming malls now. I think pictorial depictions are much better. But you'll see that still the developers are not cutting any corners in terms of what they're building and how unique they want to build their propositions in Dubai. So whatever they're trying to do with a lot of flamboyance, a lot of class, and a lot of opulence, as I mentioned, because I think that's what Dubai is all about. And people want to really look up to places like this and be seen in places like this with their contemporaries. And therefore, malls are never going to die, even though the e-commerce is catching up pretty fast. They're never going to die, but they will only consolidate. And a few of them may get reconverted into other asset users more, rather than retail. But the major malls, which we just showed, and a few of them which are upcoming now, they're not going to die. They're going to still keep doing well, because people still have a habit of going there with their families. They've been born, brought up there. They still do e-commerce, but brick and mortar is still very important. That's Maidan One Mall. It's supposed to have a ski hill, for skiing, which is an Olympic-sized, ski rink, where you can actually 1.5 miles you can actually ski inside the mall. So they're trying to do that, which is an Olympic-sized ski rink, which is what initially Mall of Emirates had tried up with their snow park there, but this has gone to the next level now, and this project's actually delayed by about 2 years because of the supply issues. Dubai Hills Mall is a major one, which is next to a big residential community, which is Al Khail Road, and I think this is going to give a big competition to Mall of the Emirates, which is why Emaar is building this to get a lot of share from Masjid Al Futtaim. It's about 2.3 million square feet. Maidan One Mall, I showed you this one. Night Souk is, again, this is by Nakheel. It's huge, just on the water, but they've announced this. There's no work right now, which is fast enough to say they're going to finish in time. Nakheel Mall got finished. I told you this got finished last month. It's not upcoming anymore. It got launched last month. Palm Jumeirah, this is again Nakheel. Nakheel is doing a lot of huge projects in Dubai. So there are primarily 3 or 4 big developers who are building these malls. And I think they've understood now, including Masjid Al Futtaim, who's a market leader. They've announced that for the next 3 to 5 years, they're not going to do anything in the UAE. No other malls in the UAE. So they have city centers all across in Ras Al Khaimah, in Fujairah, in Deira, everywhere, the city centers, Mall of the Emirates, this all belongs to Masjid Al Futtaim. So they've already taken the hints and said, we're not going to do any more retail development. So Nakheel is going to follow the same suit, and same suit, they're going to stop building any more malls, which is the next change that we see in the mindset of developers. This is Alkhel Avenue, again Nakheel, 1.1 million square feet. Cityland Mall, this is a personal favorite mall because we work on this mall and we are trying to make this a reality within this year. A part phase of this mall is already operational, but I'm personally involved in this mall, so I've leased over 150 units here with my team. And the mall contains still 300 units, so we are still struggling at about 50%. But it's a very unique mall, and with a huge garden in the middle of the mall, because Arabs and locals, they love gardens, to go with their families. And it's a free of charge garden, and you can go in and have a nice F&B around it, and the mall is built around the beautiful garden. So it's first time in the world that we're trying to do this. It's from the developers of Miracle Garden. Whoever's been to Dubai would have perhaps gone to Miracle Garden, a butterfly garden. So they are the same developers who are doing this. And we'll see this unique development see the light of the day by October this year. Silicon Central is in Silicon Oasis. Again, these are all projects which are coming far off from the main city. They're all in Mohammed bin Zayed Road or Dubai Land or Emirates Road, because that's where the residential developments are happening, but retail still has some more scope to grow. So they're now going out of the city. Like here, Mumbai, most developers then went to Navi Mumbai and started making developments, residential as well as retail there. This is what's happening in Dubai as well. Not on such a major scale, but it is. This is Festival Plaza, again by Al Futtaim, on Sheikh Zayed Road, next to the Ibn Battuta Mall I told you. It's just opened with IKEA. Dubai Expo Mall, yeah, this one's a big one. It's about 400,000 square feet, being built only for the Expo. And we don't know how it's going to be sustained after the Expo is over. Because the Expo runs for 6 months, starting October 2020 this year. But after that, what happens, we really don't know. We actually could be appointed for this mall to lease it out because they're about 18% leased right now. So, less than 20% leased at this stage, 6 months, 7 months down the line, you've got to open the mall is a bit scary. But Emaar being Emaar, Emaar is building it along with the Expo sites, and they may just pull it off towards the end for all you know. Sports Society is a themed mall. This is another big thing now Dubai is trying to get in, where they're building malls only for sports, for example. So this mall will not have any other merchandise, it will not have any other apparel, any other uses apart from sports. So you'll have bowling alleys, you'll have trampoline parks, you'll have gymnasiums, you'll have clinics, but sports clinics, physiotherapy clinics, sports fashion, very healthy food. You'll have organic cafes, organic foods. So this mall is a very small mall, about 300,000 square feet, but it's very focused on the audience that it really wants. It's the people who want to really come in and who want to only think about their health and their family's health. So it's doing pretty okay right now in terms of leasing. Okay, so the demand drivers. Now, our key findings as neutral consultants there for the last 9 years now. We started in 2010. We've seen a population slow down. People have been leaving a lot to Saudi Arabia, for example, because Saudi is the next big market in the GCC. And between Saudi and UAE, you get about 77% of the retail market in the GCC. So Saudi is a huge market, and they've come along a long way, with the kind of changes they have proposed in the system and how it's opening up to the world. So a lot of people are going there. Why people are not staying in Dubai is primarily because of job insecurity, the high school fees. The school fee still remains high. Better prospects in KSA, as I mentioned, and outlook for growth, is slower because government initiatives like visa schemes are taking too long for people to have that kind of confidence back in. Tourism growing, but with budget-constrained visitors. So you're not seeing the rich people from Saudi, for example, or Russia coming in right now because oil took a hit, a couple of years ago. So these tourists have actually dried down quite a bit. But they still had Chinese tourists coming in huge numbers last year till the December virus news came in. So the Chinese New Year this year was a bit silent. It wasn't as strong as last year during the Dubai Shopping Festival, which was last month. The economic and geopolitical uncertainty is still hampering growth, because there is geopolitical uncertainty, and everyone knows that Gulf has always been uncertain in terms of the geopolitical situation. You don't know who's on whose side there because it keeps changing. Hotels are managing occupancy levels at the expense of average room rates, but still you're getting rooms at 150, 160, 180 dirhams, which is about 3,500-4,000 rupees, for a night, which was never seen in Dubai before. So many hotels have actually slashed down to get still their average room rents. Government initiatives may include deregulation of casinos. That's a big one, which we think can be a game changer. If it happens, casinos will be the new reality in Dubai. If there's any other country that can do it, or any other city that can do it, is Dubai. And we're expecting this to happen this year, because otherwise the Dubai story may not be as real as we all want it to be, and as sustainable. So we are expecting this to happen in the waters, offshore. But in Dubai, half an hour from Dubai in a yacht, it'll still be allowed. And this is through the internal sources that we speak to in the government, as well as in the public sector. So this one is a big one. If it happens, it can be a game changer completely, because it'll become like what Singapore became to the Chinese tourists when they opened the Marina Bay Sands, the casinos there. This is what is anticipated for Dubai as well. Okay, the demand drivers now again. Population, as you're aware, is about 2.8 million, and the tourists that they're getting are about 14 million. So about 5 times of the population is the number of tourists that come in. And therefore, we think that it's very important that the tourists keep coming. That's what sustains Dubai. The growth is expected to pick up again from this year, which is what we're expecting. But the last couple of years have been really very struggling for the entire market across the sectors, across the domain. So population growth again expected here. And in terms of GDP growth, you're talking about 3.2-3% is what they expect every year, going forward, which is still decent compared to many others, where it's about 1%, 2%. So 3% is still a decent growth rate, which is expected. And about 41% of residents in Dubai, they hold citizenship of Southeast Asian countries. So, including people like me. Which means that there has to be steps taken for these guys to increase the demand, for us to actually go and invest there. I mean, I've been there 5.5 years and I've still not bought any home there, because it just feels, unsafe somewhere. It feels that rules can change overnight, and, your hard-earned money will be left there. So that's one mentality and a mindset that needs to change. And the Dubai government is doing a lot. They're trying to do a lot, but it's not coming on ground for people to say, yes, now we can come and invest there completely, and it can be, we can be safeguarded with all our rights as well. So I think that'll be a game changer if that happens. They have to focus on the Indians and the Pakistanis and the Brits, who are the maximum spenders there in terms of buying real estate. Okay, let's come back to this one, because retail development trends, I think this is good enough, because the key findings that we've got is important that we make everyone aware with the same. Shopping online is increasing. It's growing at 15% right now, the shoppers base, 15%, although still the penetration of the e-commerce there is still about 4.5% in the total space, but it's growing at 15 to 18% every year. And in Saudi, for example, compared to Saudi, which is growing at 40% right now, 60% of the population is still under 35, which is a very good sign because these are the spenders. They all want to spend more. They want to shop online. They want to look at destinations that offer exciting and social experiences. Entertainment and food with friends and family is still a big thing because that's where everyone's spending money. Popularity of lifestyle shopping centers shift towards community retail, as I said, because a lot of communities being built and retail there is still flourishing. Health and wellness is a big sector which is getting a lot of focus, and standards are rising. Online shopping I spoke about already. 4% value share right now of the total sales. It's about 4.5% now, as per the recent reports. And there's an increase on the depends on mall operators on a differentiated dining and entertainment offering, as I mentioned. So a lot of brands from India are trying to enter Dubai now because it's a very good time. You're getting good deals, and these are in all sectors. And we think this is a good year for a lot of retailers to come back there, and we'll be happy to handhold them, these brands, and let them expand in the right shopping malls as well, the ones that we're doing or our partners are. But we are happy to do that in terms of the retailers who are new, innovative from East Asian or this part of the world. So the growth of F&B has been huge, and you can see a lot of food trucks which are very much in vogue today. In any of the big expos or events, they get food trucks which are what you see here right now. Rather than just the retail stores. So this is again a part of retail, but F&B which is surviving and still sustaining. Entertainment, edutainment are very big. Kidzania, Kids Mondo, some major players who have been there in the market for long have been doing well because it's the children who force their parents to go into malls still and spend more money. So this sector and this segment of retail is also very interesting and growing well. These are lifestyle developments there. Beautiful developments, Blue Waters, City Walk, Al Seef, these are all next to the sea actually, and on the shores, so they're very, very beautiful and mesmerizing for the tourists. And therefore we think this is something which Miras has done. Nakheel and Miras are the two developers who do it. And for the 6-7 months of the year, these places are really doing very well for the outdoor entertainment. Convenience retail, which is again for the neighborhood and shopping malls, which are about 150,000 square feet. You need to have a supermarket, you need to have a clinic, you need to have F&B and some pharmacies, services, etc., and you can build a small convenience retail like that. And these are thriving, they're doing okay because people are living around them. Health and wellness, as I mentioned earlier, it's important because clinics and medical centers are still growing. Compared to India, it's very lackluster in terms of medical support. But still, I think overall, they have a huge scope to still grow further and give a different experiential kind of retail, experiential kind of understanding to the people or the patients that come to them. So this sector again is growing well. Another trend is that there's a premiumization and there are rising standards. So everyone's trying to make their offerings more premium because value has been there, but value only for hypermarkets has worked. But this is for the developers to understand now that they have to take it to the next level and ensure that even the hypermarkets, like they have a Carrefour or they have a Marks and Spencer, all these guys they have to reinvent and re-innovate every 3 to 5 years. So even if they spend a lot of money, the developers are ensuring that they put in that money now and ensure that they give a different experience to the customer. So standards are rising across the board. Okay, just some pictures now. I think we'll be finished with them. Then you can ask me questions if you guys have. This is the lifestyle center that I spoke about. Quite mesmerizing if you see it. It's like, this is actually the tallest blue eye in the world. This blue eye that they talk, it's the tallest in the world. Highest in the world, I'm sorry, tallest. That's again Blue Waters. City Walk I showed you earlier. The big events and the big concerts that happen, which is open right in the middle of the city, and they've already got all the big Hollywood celebrities as well as Bollywood guys to perform here already. So this is a good addition, right in the middle of the mall. I mean, next to the mall. This is Al Seef, which is the older part of Dubai, next to the sea again, and very traditional yet very contemporary. Looks pretty beautiful. This is Al Seef. This is the Point by Nakheel, next to the water again. This is La Mer, with a lot of outdoor activities and retail and fashion and F&B. Again, La Mer here. Oh, La Mer. This is the beach new development, which is opened by Miraz. It's a small one, about 150,000 square feet, but very, very contemporary. There you go. So thank you very much for being patient and hearing me out. Any questions you have?